One of the things that I love about this section is that we see that the Lord's wisdom is greater than the cunning of the devil. And in verses 15 to 18, I think we see this showing up perfectly. Not only did the Lord know what was happening many hundreds of years before it actually occurred, but he prepared a way around it. And if we look at verses 15 to 18, the Lord is explaining to Joseph Smith. And it's interesting, a lot of these verses in D&C 10 end up in the preface of the original edition of the Book of Mormon. And so you see that Joseph is using this knowledge that the Lord has given him to thwart the plan of Satan. In verse 15 it says, "For behold, he, Satan, has put it into their hearts to get thee to tempt the Lord thy God, in asking to translate it over again. And then behold, they say and think in their hearts, we will see if God has given him power to translate. If so, he will also give him power again." One of the things as I was rereading this in preparation to come on the episode, which is fascinating, is the fact that these people trying to thwart the work actually believe in God's power. They say God actually might have given power to translate, but we're opposed to God either way, which I think is kind of a fascinating thing to think about. And then they say in verse 17, "If God giveth him power again, or if he translates again, or in other words, if he bringeth forth the same words, behold, we have the same with us, and we have altered them. Therefore they will not agree. We will say that he has lied in his words, and that he has no gift, and that he has no power." So essentially, what these men are trying to do as they've taken the 116 pages is if Joseph retranslates the exact same way, they'll change them and say, oh, look, so it doesn't match. If Joseph translates slightly differently, they'll say, look, here's the original. It doesn't match. And so whatever Joseph does, they're trying to trick him. But Joseph receives this revelation from the Lord, put some of this in the preface of the 1830 edition of the Book of Mormon, and I just imagine their chagrin when they open up the copy of the Book of Mormon and they see that Joseph knows exactly what they're trying to do, and the Lord has thwarted their purpose about several hundred years before they actually had it.
So what evidence do we have that the Lord did know that this was going to happen?
In 1 Nephi 9:5, we see Nephi here, and he's preparing these two sets of records, right? He's got the larger plates and the smaller plates. And as he's going and he's preparing, we have on the larger plates a lot of the history, and then the smaller plates his ministry. And he says something really interesting in verse 5. "Wherefore the Lord hath commanded me to make these plates for a wise purpose in him, which purpose I know not." And then verse 6, "But the Lord knoweth all things from the beginning, wherefore he prepareth a way to accomplish all his works among the children of men. For behold, he hath all power unto the fulfilling of all his words." And so we see that Nephi is preparing essentially two copies of the same material. And the Lord's going to use that because after he translates the book of Lehi, and then that's taken in the 116 pages, the stolen 116 pages, the Lord has prepared the small plates that are added to the record. And so Joseph is able to translate, and we still have the record of Nephi.